They build models that predict our actions. The best model wins. So the other side of the screen is like they have this avatar, this voodoo doll, like model of you, all right? All the things that we have ever done, every click that we've ever made, all the likes, videos, everything that you've done online gets brought back into building a more and more accurate model. So you keep feeding it, right? This is how machine learning works. You keep feeding this beast and it keeps learning. Everything that you're feeding it is learning, and it can get better at predicting different things, predicting who you are. These devices can predict if a woman is pregnant or not. And the scary thing about these machines is the people who teach the machines, the people who teach them how to learn, they don't quite understand how it works. They don't understand how they make these predictions. Like the people who created this shit, they don't even understand how the algorithm is making their decision for your life and how the algorithm is skewing your perception. That's the design of the system. So for you to get your own facts. They literally said all of this in the documentary. I'm just kind of echoing. This model can predict the kinds of things that the person does. And it kind of works like this. This is what they said in the documentary. You have these big tech companies, and this is kind of the model they all go off of now. I think after Facebook, this is kind of like commonplace in the big tech world. This is what they do. They have an engagement goal, they have a growth goal, and they have an ad goal. So basically the engagement goal is to keep you coming back and to keep you engaged. How long will you stay on their devices? Because each of these social media giants are competing for your attention. So you got a growth goal, which is how many people can you get to come to this platform? How many people can you tell about this so we can continue to grow? And then they have an ad goal because, of course, economics, they got to make money. They have to have financial incentives. So that's really what all of this is about. So that's where the advertising and stuff comes into play. They can basically play with these dials. That's why I say y'all, if y'all, want to, if y'all can, I think it's an important documentary to watch, especially around about the first 40 minutes of it, because I have gotten surgical at pointing out propaganda. So I'm telling you, okay, listen to this part, y'all. The last, I say, 36 minutes of the film is propaganda, of the documentary, because that's how they have to do it. They have to expose themselves, get you emotionally attached and believing in them. Okay, yeah, this is all right. This is the truth. They're exposing it. And then get you on board for their agenda. So, Chaz, what's the agenda? But the goal is to modify behavior. So you're refreshing. Every time you refresh, it's something new. It's like the slot machine. You're waiting. You're trying to see if you're going to get something good. Sometimes you will. Sometimes you won't. So it's positive enforcement. Social media isn't a tool. It has its own goals now. Social media has its own goals of pursuing by using your own psychology against you. Social media releases dopamine, which can increase your addiction. A lot of young people are totally influenced by social media and that truth. Uncle Google can tell you everything. He don't lie, right? When you can go, and they said this on the documentary, based on your geographical location and who you are, if you go on Google and you look up a hot topic, like let's just say climate change, based on your geographical location, who you are and who your friends are, because they know everything about you, they'll give you search results that are not true, but are beneficial to you, that are what they deem as best for you. They're exposing all how this whole thing works. And it's up to you to be able to point out the propaganda and it all, because at the end of the day, they have a goal in mind. They have an agenda in play. And the agenda is this reset. That's what it is. And I'm going to continue. I'm going to just go further, man. So basically on this documentary, they went on to say, it's 2 billion people roughly using social media. So you have 2 billion Truman shows, 2 billion people who are receiving their worldview out of a certain lens. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm agreeing. Like, this whole podcast so far is me agreeing. I'm just telling y'all, watch what you ingest and know that everybody has an agenda, even if they're telling the truth. This is my bread and butter right here, exposing this shit. So they have to keep you in this train of thought and this way of thinking, which may not be completely false. You may be like, this is fact, because I see it all the time. But you don't understand that you have your own truths. You have your own facts. You have your own worldview. This documentary is exposing it. It's telling you. It's telling you. And I'm trying to tell y'all psychologically, it's a reason why they're telling you. I've been talking about the feedback loophole for years. Now you're exposing it. Now it's this big problem. Now that it's at your doorstep. I don't believe that. I believe that to a degree. But I don't believe that that is their only agenda, their only goal. You knew how this stuff can end up. They tell you in the documentary. They say we didn't know it was going to reach this point, but they knew what social media was. These people studied the psychology of people. They knew how to put in persuasive propaganda to get people to click. They even say in this documentary that it is at the interest of the big tech companies to keep the viewer looking at fake news, right? And misinformation, because fake news and the misinformation produces, the advertisements, and real news is boring. They said real news is boring. People don't want the real news. They inserted the propaganda about the last 35, 40 minutes of the film when they started to talk about fake news. And they started saying, flat earth, Pizzagate, the left-right paradigm. This was all to prove their point from the beginning of the video, which is what they created. They're telling you what they did, and they're telling you how can we fix it. Okay, we're supposed to believe you? After you just destroyed the fabric of society, we're supposed to believe you now. We're supposed to be believing you and relying on you to save us when you couldn't save us from the big tech company who probably fired y'all's ass or whatever. So, come on, man. Like, this is so obvious what this is. So now they're exposing it all. It's all exposed, which is true. They're exposing it. This is how it works. This is how they do it. They have to expose themselves. And then they have to come in and save you from them. Right? Like, that's how this shit works. And it's the same formula every time. That's why I'm saying people have to watch this documentary. We're all operating on a different set of facts, which you can't see info that goes against your worldview that you've created for yourself with the help of the algorithm who guides you towards the information and the facts that you may like through machine learning. Google, YouTube, Facebook, all of these godlike companies who are dictating what is fact for us, they aren't giving you the full truth. They're giving you what's best for you, because this stuff is controlled by algorithm, y'all. They feed the system, and the algorithm is the one that does the bidding. The algorithm is getting better and better in machine learning. They don't even understand how the algorithm is doing it. So one of the guys went on to say on the documentary that AI is already controlling the world. We don't have to reach the singularity, right, for them to control the world. They're in control of how we're thinking, of our moves. I go on to say, the documentary is propaganda. And I'm going to just round this out for y'all. It's propaganda to regulate the internet from fake news. Like, let's just be real. I'm going to tell you how, we get to this conclusion. Basically, to show you, the viewer, how social media is destroying our society and making it easier for us to be stuck in our worldview, making us susceptible to misinformation, propaganda, and flat out fake news we may fall for because of the algorithm. When in actuality, they created all of this shit. Now they have to expose it all to get us to beg them to come back and save us from the problems that they created. The last 36 minutes and 34 seconds of the documentary is their own personal propaganda, or whoever is behind the documentary and that's telling them to put this message at the end of the movie, to round out the movie. So they baited you in with the truth about social media, and then they inserted their point of view to likely promote regulating the internet and information, which will place you right back into the mainstream narrative loop. The thing is, y'all, they have lost control over the mainstream narrative. So they have to get that back. So they have to push this regulation and, this is global chaos. You have to understand why they're telling you this, because they want you to be the one that make a decision and help bring them back in to save us. But the algorithm wants to really find rabbit holes. My question is, what is fake news? Can anybody really explain to me what fake news is? If the conspiracy theory is that the elite is trafficking kids and are trying to achieve world domination, and they give us the official story, why would they tell on themselves? So this is my point, y'all. Like, okay, you saying it's a lot of fake news, this has to be stopped. So who gives the official story? Who gives the real news? If our conspiracy theory that you're saying is a conspiracy theory is that the government is corrupt.